Anna Rambaran. This is Claudia, this is Bobby, and Dee. Tonight I'll be presenting my capstone paper, which is titled Traditional and Online Schooling with a Criminal Justice Major. This paper has taken me 4 weeks to construct with 4 weeks of in-depth research. I will be going through the history, the technology in criminal justice, online courses versus on-campus courses, the statistics, and the requirements of how to become a criminal justice professor. For the love of law is why somebody would go into teaching. There's a huge misconception that once you enter the field of criminal justice, you can either go two extremes. You go to law school, or you become law enforcement agent. People tend to forget that behind every good lawyer and one very good officious agent, that there is a teacher. Anybody's success story, they will let you know that I once sat in a class and had a teacher. Either one was so strict that everything was on point, or they made something totally interesting where they actually remember what the 14th Amendment was. As I go through my paper tonight, I will let you know how to succeed on an online course, what's the differences between public school and private school, and the way to capture your students from the perspective of a teacher. Everyone's been through schooling, but whereas it's online or traditional school, we all have sat in a classroom where a teacher either bored us to death or one was very interactive. In order for you to succeed on an online course or traditional, at this point, I'll be speaking about both, is you have to set goals, you have to establish a regular study and learning styles, you have to talk about it, join a study group, and know your individual learning style. With that, you set goals for yourself. You keep a calendar and journal of what you have to do, your daily tasks, not just what you have to turn in, but what you have to study, what you have to read, and what you have to do to succeed to be the best of the best of your class. Another thing people don't do, they don't talk about it, because they figure if they go to an online school, it's not as good as going to a traditional campus school. So they do not want to tell you where they went to school. So the more you talk about it, the more you feel self-efficacy, the more that you feel that pride, the proudness of what you are achieving in life. Another one thing that does help, and a lot of people do not do, are study groups. Because especially people who are gearing towards career advancement, they do not want to do study groups because they don't have the time. It's not they don't want to, they don't have the time, because they have to take their kids to soccer practice, they have to come home and cook, they have to work 40 hours a week, so everything is put towards, I'm going to get this paper done, I'm going to get it done, and that's it. But once you join a study group, it keeps the interaction going of you versus other people. It makes you know where that person is coming from and better study habits. And at the end, you have to celebrate your success. There's no greater feeling in life as receiving your diploma, walking across that stage. And when you walk across that stage, you look to your left, you see your family, you look to your right, and you shake the hand of the teacher who made it possible. That is how you succeed in any course versus criminal justice, health science, chemistry, whereas it's online or if it's not online. Now I'm going to take you back into some history and technology. 15, 20 years ago, you didn't have the opportunity or the suggestion to go and attend school online. Now you can attend school online if it's from grade school all up into college. You have that variety of schooling. This variety of schooling doesn't let geographical obstacles interfere with you attending classes. Technology, when people hear technology and schooling, they think it's going to hinder school. It's quite opposite. It actually enhances school. Technology is where the society is going towards now. Every child from the age of 9 to a student in college has either a smartphone, a laptop, a computer, or a video game. Everything has to do with technology. Everything is very interactive. And now, saying that, we'll go on to teachers and technology. Teaching with technology enhances their teaching productivity in the class, because putting a teacher and putting them together with a computer in the class makes creativity a lot greater. What I mean by this is every classroom that you go in either has a projector, or it has a laptop, or it has a computer station. When you intertwine teachers and technology, it makes teaching very broad versus the curricula and academia, because now that teacher is going to expand their knowledge to the student and explain to them and educate them how the technology of computers will enhance the productivity of what they'll produce. What I mean by that is it gives them more to relate to. Every child now, they like technology. They like cell phones. They like video games. They have, even from Monopoly, going from board games, Monopoly is now on the computer. That is where children and society are going towards now. And that is where we're gearing more education. Education is going from books to now they're giving out Nooks, Kindles, iPads for them to have their textbooks on. So it causes the child to be able to read off the computer, surf the web, and highlight and enunciate through these electrical devices. How does this all affect criminal justice? Criminal justice now took a turn towards technology and the greatest steps mankind has made. Every agency in the criminal justice, the governmental facilities, they all go through computers. If you get arrested here, you'll be known in New York because that's how they communicate. Nothing is paper, as much paper as it used to be. Heading towards now the student's point of view of online versus traditional schooling. A lot of students don't like to take online courses because they feel that there is not enough interaction with the teacher. I can attest that I take online courses. My interaction with the teacher is great. I send an email, half an hour later, I get a response. The interaction between me and somebody else through online schooling has been just the same as me talking to somebody physically at school. There is certain times where online that you go into a discussion room where professors are not allowed. And that is a time where the students get to, one, socialize, ask questions within themselves. This is a way that students motivate each other. When students motivate each other, it enhances the productivity of that class. It enhances the productivity of that person. And as a teacher, you do feel well. In order to succeed as a teacher, Keller makes the role motivation design model. It breaks down into 4 parts. You have attention, confidence, satisfaction, and relevance. Attention. A teacher has to have the perceptual arousal, meaning you have to capture the student's interest. Whatever you do, you have to have that student to be intrigued in what you're teaching. You have to have the inquiry of arousal. You have to stimulate that student's inquiry. You have to make sure that that person You find a way to tell them that the Fourth Amendment is to protect them from unreasonable search and seizure, and have them know that that is what that amendment is for, and that from the day they start to 4 years when they graduate, they will remember that the Fourth Amendment is the protection against unreasonable search and seizure. The variability. You have to maintain that student's attention. You have to maintain the attention to where you're not boring them to death and you're not overexerting the student. You're not making too many projects to where they overexert themselves and they do not conceive the relevance of what you're teaching. The second part is relevance. You have a goal to attain. You have to meet that student's needs. You have to have the compassion and the discipline and the motivation to be able to show that student that they are able to lead. That one student will be able to carry on what you teach from here into the workforce. And they will turn back and say that there was a certain teacher that made me realize that I have the needs and I will be able to show the world what my needs were met. You have to be motive matching. You have to match the student's interests to the learning styles. You have 50 students, you have to be able to understand and realize those 50 students the way they are, if they're audible learners, if they're visual learners, or if they're both. You have to be familiarity. The familiarity creates links to that student's experience. Guess I pronounced the word wrong, okay? You have to be able to take that student's experience and turn it into something productive. That student's experience would be able to tell you if that student can relate what they learned in class to apply it to outside. If that person knew that when they get arrested, they have the right to counsel, and they understand that when they walk into that police station, they know that under their Fifth Amendment in the Constitution, that they have the protection from self-incrimination and they have the right to a counsel, whereas it's the day of arrest to the day of sentencing. That is what that person has to understand. You have to give that person the confidence to know that the learning requirements that they have will meet the needs of the employer. You have to make sure that the success opportunities are there. That student has to grow in your class. Whereas if it's criminal justice or if it's the health sciences, that student has to know that with what you teach, they are growing, the knowledge is there, and they can expel it to someone else. They have to have personal responsibility to understand that it's not just because they have a paper due on the 25th that they are going to sit the 24th and do the paper. They have to be able to understand and have personal accountability that they want to hand in the paper that they're writing. They have to be proud of their work. The satisfaction within the person. You have intrinsic and extrinsic. Intrinsic is the one inside. That person has self-satisfaction that they can leave that class at the end of the 4 weeks or the 16 weeks and say that they actually learned something, and they will be able to tell somebody else about it. The extrinsic reward is that the reward has consequences. Consequences in a good way, meaning that at the end of these 4 weeks, they will receive their degree, they'll receive their certificate, they'll receive the diploma with the highest honors or the Dean's List requirement. That is what that student has to be able to understand throughout the journey of their college career. The statistics in this with proprietary school and traditional schools is with the bachelor's program, there's a 52% graduation rate with the bachelor's at a private university. And it's 29% at a public university. This here, the relationship between the professor, this statistics shows that the relationship between the professors and students is what gears their graduation percentage. In my honest opinion, I really think that does not count, because it's up to that individual if they want to learn and if they want to expel themselves into the world where they can promote growth. Career advancements is what is the goal for private universities, because again, the geographic obstacles is not one to be taken into. A person who goes to a private school or a career advanced school is one that is looking for career growth, not for academia per se. Academia is a plus, but it's more career oriented versus traditional schooling, where the National Bureau of Labor says that it's between the ages of 21 to the ages between 18 to 21 go to traditional schools. Combining technology and criminal justice is a revelation to the world. Technological literacy is a term that they say exploits literacy, but it doesn't. It only enhances literacy. And when I take the term literacy, I'm speaking about schooling in general. In conclusion, the journey of educating the reader has taken me 4 weeks to research. With this, I really sought the path that I want to take. I am not cut out to be a criminal justice lawyer or a criminal defense lawyer, prosecutor. I am not cut out to be law enforcement. I have the love for law, the foundations, the ethics. I want to be the one to teach. I want to be the one that has that student sitting on and says, she taught me what I know. Because behind every success story, like me, I have a teacher who made me sit in awe. I had a teacher that made me remember all 14 of the amendments. I had a teacher who made me exert myself and push myself, motivate myself to understand and teach others what I know about criminal justice. And throughout my research, it has proved that this is what I want to do and this is my field. I truly hope that you guys enjoyed my presentation as much as I enjoyed giving it.